Hi, I'm State Representative Jen Schultz, and I'm your DFL-endorsed candidate for Congress in Minnesota's 8th District. For the past 8 years, I've represented Duluth in the state legislature, where I've negotiated important healthcare reforms, secured funding for critical infrastructure upgrades, closed tax loopholes, and as a member of the Great Lakes Commission, worked on protecting and promoting Lake Superior and the Duluth Port. I grew up in a small town where my mother raised me and my sister. She taught us the value of hard work, helping our neighbors, and supporting each other. She often struggled to pay bills, and for a short time we relied on government support for housing and food. I put myself through college with the assistance of federal grants and loans and earned a graduate degree in economics. Today I live in Duluth with my husband and our 2 sons and teach economics at UMD. We have built our lives in northern Minnesota, and we are proud to call it home. The 8th District is vast, from Lake of the Woods in the north to the city limits of Stillwater in the south, from Bemidji in the west and up the North Shore. All 7 tribes north of the Twin Cities are included in the 8th District. As your U.S. Representative, I'll be focused on addressing economic issues, such as diversifying our economy, investing in education, attracting good jobs, making healthcare more affordable, and tackling climate change. I will ensure we are honoring treaties and respecting tribal sovereignty. And as a daughter of a Vietnam veteran, I will prioritize helping our veterans. I'm running because my opponent, Pete Stauber, is not delivering on his promises. I want to work on real solutions to the issues facing people across our entire district. I'll prioritize getting things done and solving problems. In the past 4 years, 2 of which Republicans were in control, my opponent got nothing done. Only 4 bills he sponsored were passed off the House floor but did not become law. In the past 2 years, he has voted against almost every significant piece of legislation to bring jobs and infrastructure funds, small business investment, and COVID relief to the district. He voted in lockstep with his party to the detriment of our basic constitutional rights, including our right to privacy, our right to vote, our right to contraception, and our right to abortion. He even voted against supporting increased funding for our law enforcement agencies, $315 billion. He voted against investigating the deadly January 6th insurrection and signed the Texas lawsuit to invalidate the presidential election. When I'm in Congress, I will get things done for all of us. I will protect all of our rights. I will be your representative, not the representative of special interests. While my opponent takes over $1 million from corporate interests and CEOs, I have pledged to not accept any corporate PAC money. I will be accountable to the people, not corporations. And as an economist, I understand the urgency in addressing rising costs and ensuring everyone's needs are met. I have always supported unions, and I have a 100% voting record with the AFL-CIO. As a proud union member, I am honored to have earned almost every labor endorsement. I will continue to be a strong advocate for labor and the creation of new union jobs across the district. I will fight for fair policies, fair taxes, our freedom, and opportunities for our rural communities. We need to diversify our economy. A diverse economy provides opportunities so that young people want to stay here. Workers and businesses can thrive here, and people can retire here. Even though I served in a divided legislature for 8 years, I delivered meaningful results by negotiating with people from all parties. As your next U.S. Representative, I will use my knowledge, experience, and work ethic to improve our lives. My priority has always been serving the people I represent. I'm Jen Schultz, and I'm running for Congress because I believe when we invest in people, we all do better. When we invest in our communities, we all do better. And you deserve a U.S. representative who will work as hard as you do. I look forward to earning your support and working for you. Please vote on November 8th. For more information, please visit our website, jenschultzforcongress.com. Thank you.
Hello, I'm State Senator Jen Mcewen. I've had the great honor to represent our community in the Minnesota State Senate these past 2 years. As a new state legislator, I have had a front row seat to see just how powerful corporate money and influence are at our state capitol. It doesn't have to be that way. Over these past 2 years, I have been so proud to lead the fights to change this dynamic and to bring Duluthians' voices and values into the Capitol. I have founded and now serve as co-chair to the legislature's new Reproductive Freedom Caucus. I have led the fight to establish true universal health care for all Minnesotans, separate from employment status, no deductibles, no co-pays, free at the point of service, health care that is comprehensive, including mental health care, dental, eye care, hearing. When you need your health care, you just go get your health care. That is the way that it should be. Health care should be a right, and we will lead on that fight. I've also been a fierce defender of the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency's clean car rules as we move into this transition to a clean energy economy. This is the very least that we can do. I have also, of course, fought to protect and defend our waters, our beautiful Lake Superior and all of the watersheds here in northern Minnesota. And I have been proud to build a strong coalition around the Prove It First legislation that requires that corporations that want to bring copper sulfide mining to northeastern Minnesota simply have to prove first that they could do that safely before our communities would serve in an experimental attempt to do so. It is possible for us to meet this moment and to create a better world for ourselves and for the generations to come. We can guarantee health care and housing for all. We can transition to a clean energy economy and protect our waters and create an environment and a quality of life where our people and our economy thrives. Together, we can overcome the challenges we face. I ask for your support as we move into this next session. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Johnston, running for Minnesota House Seat 8A to represent West Duluth. Many of you will likely remember me for the 8 years that I was on the Duluth School Board and not afraid to speak up. I've seen the best of Duluth and the worst of the way politics operate in Duluth. I was in the DFL for many years and tried to reform it to make it more people-oriented, nicer, and more transparent. We can shake our head about national politics, but the way politics work in Duluth and in this nation is disgraceful. If you are like me, you're tired of the hate and the name-calling. Can we please talk about issues? That doesn't mean we will agree. So where's my disagreement with my DFL opponent? Thanks to DFL policies, hyperinflation is the worst our country has seen for 50 years. Gas prices for our transportation are at an all-time high, up 80%. Natural gas prices to warm our homes and run our industry are up at an all-time high. Electric rates are going up. Groceries are up 13%. Lumber's up 50% in just 1 year. There's no end in sight to inflation. 2 years ago, America was energy independent and actually exported energy. No more, thanks to the DFL war on energy. For ideological reasons, the DFL and the National Democrats have killed the Keystone Pipeline, want to stop Line 3, halted the Clean the Magic Trails natural gas plant in the Twin Ports. And this is all stopping affordable, efficient energy flowing into our country, stunting our standard of living, making energy too unaffordable to those that need it most, and curtailing well-paying local employment. But the DFL are not content with curtailing energy. They have killed the Twin Metals mine, and they are again trying to kill the Polymet mine. Steel and our precious metals to sustain our lifestyles, and that built our beautiful city of Duluth, and that is plentiful in our backyard, are now imported from dictatorial countries without environmental protections or labor unions. Has any of this helped you? No. My DFL opponent is a keynote speaker at Sierra Club gatherings where elite ideological purity and anti-science prevails, and the pain that they are causing working class people is ignored and even lauded. We now have a Democratic political machine that begs like panhandlers on our Duluth street corners to have nasty foreign countries give us energy and materials at any cost. Any cost to us, to our city, any cost to our country. It is clear the DFL no longer represents working people, farmers, laborers, or even Democrats. And the DFL can no longer even define what a woman is. The DFL is trying to paint the Republican Party as against women's rights due to the recent Dobbs court decision. The DFL used to be pro-choice, but now they're pro-abortion. Let's talk about that. An abortion is a major medical intervention into a woman's body. It comes with high physical and emotional costs, as anyone who has actually been there knows. Abortion is not like going to get your teeth cleaned. For nearly everyone, an abortion at 7 months, 8 months, or 9 months is unfathomable. It is time we have an honest discussion about abortion, and the DFL policy advocates abortion up to 9 months. And remember, the DFL can't even define what a woman is. And they advocate for males to have limited access to girls' bathrooms, yes, even here in Duluth, and to allow males to erode the hard-earned gains that women have fought for years by allowing males to play in Title IX girls' sports. Being on the Duluth School Board for 8 years was an eye-opener. The extreme COVID policies of the DFL did one thing: it showed parents and taxpayers that an increasing disaster our schools have became. Number of graduates from Duluth is at an all-time low. Academic proficiency and graduation rates get even lower, particularly for our students of color. Gender junk and racism is replacing academics and excellence. Time we say no to obsolete, self-serving, bloated educational bureaucracies that aren't doing their jobs and that can't define what a woman is. Our schools receive $15,000 of taxpayer money for each student, whether or not they're educating them. It's time to give parents and grandparents a choice, and that $15,000 to educate their children with freedom. You can see why I'm a walkaway Democrat. I welcome you to join me and to finally have a Duluth representative that represents Duluth people, Duluth values, and our Duluth economy. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Representative Liz Olson, and I'm running for re-election in District 8A. I've had the pleasure of serving our community for the last 6 years in the legislature. I've been able to deliver major projects for our community, such as legislation to help fight the opioid epidemic by bringing funds to our community to combat the crisis, investments in seawalls and roads and bridges, infrastructure, childcare, things that are urgent for our community. But we know there's so much work we need to do to ensure a community where everyone can thrive. And that's why I'm running for re-election, because I want to partner with all of you to make sure your priorities are our priorities at the Capitol, to make sure we're fighting some of the biggest challenges of our time, like climate change, reproductive justice, healthcare access, and the list goes on. Because we all do better when everyone in our community has what they need: safe, secure housing, and education that helps close the disparities that we know are true in our community and our state. And the priorities that all of us share to make sure that our lives are lives that are filled with joy and that allow us to thrive. And we also know that the stakes are high with our democracy and that we need everyone participating. And that's why it's important for you to vote on November 8th. Because after January 6th, we can't even take that for granted. We know there are people that are denying our own election and our own democracy and working to undermine it. And so we need more people, not less, participating in making sure that your voice is heard this November 8th. It'd be an honor to continue to serve our community, a community I care deeply about, where my daughter goes to elementary school, where my husband is a teacher, where my mom is aging in her home here. This is my community, and I care deeply about its future, just as you do. So I ask for your support on November 8th, and remember to vote. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Becky Hall, running to represent Duluthians at the Minnesota House of Representatives in District 8B. Unlike city races, state races are partisan, meaning candidates are identified by party affiliation. So if you're someone who votes strictly for the Democrat ticket all the time, my message won't mean much because I'm a Republican. But if you're someone who wants to elect people whose priorities match yours, no matter what party they're from, then please consider what I have to say during the next few minutes. You know, state government is, or at least it should be, pretty simple. It should help you and me as citizens lead better, safer, healthier lives. It should provide roads and other infrastructure, and it should do so while taking as few of our tax dollars as possible. Unfortunately, it's not that simple, especially the taking fewer of our tax dollars part. As Minnesotans, we should all be proud that we want to provide excellent education for our kids, protect the environment, and help those less fortunate than we are. But we have to be smarter about it. We can't keep throwing large amounts of dollars at every unnecessary program that comes along. Remember where those funds come from: your tax dollars. How much extra do you have in your family budget to send to the state once you're done paying the higher prices for gas and groceries? Once you're done paying or seeing your retirement savings disappearing right before your very eyes? Or when you open up your latest property tax statement and gasp at the cost of that? It doesn't have to be this way. We talk about runaway government spending, but never do anything about it. Well, let's start now. When I represent you in St. Paul, I will constantly remind elected officials that government should only do what citizens need and what they can afford. In addition to protecting your tax dollars, three major areas of focus that I would like to work on is, number one, increasing public safety and giving our brave law enforcement professionals the tools they need to keep us and themselves safe. On supporting development of proven, homegrown energy resources, and on removing roadblocks that hinder job creation. As a former economic development representative for the state of Minnesota, I worked often with the state legislature. I know what we can do for job creation if we put our collective minds to it. What else am I committed to? Well, first and foremost, my family, my husband, and our 5 wonderful kids. I'm running for office to make life better for them and for you. I'll work harder than you can imagine to improve the lives of you and your family affordably. Does this sound like a Democrat, an independent, a Republican, or a Green Party person talking? Or does it sound like someone whose priorities line up with yours? I hope you think the latter. And I appreciate you taking time to listen to me today. Thank you so much, and God bless.
I'm Alicia Kozlowski, and I'm proud to be the DFL candidate running for the Minnesota House in District 8B. As someone who is no stranger to struggle and against all odds, I'm here now as a dealer of hope. I'm a proud parent, a first-time homeowner, a Latinx, Ojibwe, and Two-Spirit person. And it's this community that pushed me to rise as a first-gen college grad at UMD and on to earn a Master of Business Administration from CSS. From running the streets of Lincoln Park to a business developer, a higher educator, and now to helping run the city on the executive leadership team. I'm here because I'm driven by this community to create a government that has our backs, that makes our lives easier and not harder. That's why I'm making affordable housing for all a priority when I get to St. Paul. Because when I close my eyes, I see my mom who died waiting for affordable housing, battling addictions in the criminal justice system. We must take a housing-first approach and secure public and private investment in affordable housing and pathways to home ownership for all income ranges, while creating policies to protect renters across age, race, zip code, and gender. Because our communities deserve this housing stability and for hope for brighter futures. I'll also fight for healthcare for all, because we can put people before profits. That's why I support the Minnesota Health Plan, to ensure that healthcare coverage isn't dependent on your employment, income, or immigration status. And I'll take up the fight to rein in Big Pharma and their rising cost of prescription drugs and be fierce for high quality and affordable home care and elder care. I'll also be a champion for ending the opioid crisis and gun violence crisis and stand strong for our reproductive freedoms. I'll fight for climate justice, which is one of the biggest threats facing our communities, because together we can advance legislation that rapidly moves us towards our carbon-free future, electrifies our transit systems, and invests in sustainable and universally accessible infrastructure. This movement demands a labor-led transition to a clean energy future. That's why I support the strongest environmental regulations to protect our clean water, air, and soil, and also making state investments in our labor-led clean energy future that leaves no one behind. I'll fight for an inclusive economy because as a holder of an MBA, I understand that everything we do is economic development and that you deserve leaders who take a holistic approach. I'll support Duluth's transactors and labor unions, bring home bonding and infrastructure dollars for family-sustaining jobs, and unleash the power of our increasingly diverse workforce and entrepreneurs. Beyond that, we can tackle affordable child care crisis, advance paid family medical leave, and support expansions of our property tax base, creating economic opportunity for workers and families in every corner of the state. And I'll also be fierce for criminal justice reform and safety for all. As a non-binary and Indigenous person, my family and communities know what true safety is and isn't, and this is a topic that's deeply personal to me. As a cycle breaker, I support legislation directed at re-entry after incarceration, ending cash bail, expungement reform, and I'll also fight for police accountability, like ending qualified immunity, banning the use of no-knock warrants, ending pretextual stops, and investing in community-led violence prevention and crisis response and more. As your state rep, I will work to ensure that racial justice and human dignity are at the center of our work together. And finally, I'll fight for fully funded and equitable education. Thanks to my grandmas who raised me, who you'd know in Myers-Wilkins Elementary, I'm here today with a generational commitment to youth and to families of Duluth. Because real learning requires that every child has a stable house, small classes to foster relationships, and bellies full of nutritious food. That's why I'll fight for universal pre-K and childcare, mental health, making sure that educators are paid well and treated with respect, and curriculum that's responsive to our diverse families. Beyond that, I'll fight to remove financial barriers and improve equity, like seeking pathways to student debt forgiveness and free tuition for public colleges, universities, and trade schools so that education can be the great equalizer it's meant to be. So I'm confident that as people who call Duluth home, that we share a commitment to youth, to elders, to this place, and to each other. For me, struggle is not just a tagline, and I do not want to just represent you in St. Paul. I want to bring you with me into the halls of power. And above all that, what I have learned in my lifetime in Duluth is that it's not the legislator that cannot work for us, it's that it will not work for us unless we demand it and are fully represented in St. Paul. So our time is here and our time is now, and I hope to see you at the polls on November 8th.
Hello, my name is Nancy Nilsen. I am the current county auditor and I'm running for re-election this year. The auditor is responsible for elections, clerk of the board, finance and accounting, investments, licensing, the service center, the tax department, and auditing. I have the knowledge necessary to manage this office because I have been the auditor for the past 4 years and the chief deputy auditor for 11 years prior to being elected as your county auditor. I also have a Master of Business Administration degree to back up my experience. I have a staff of 71 people in my office. It is important to have someone with my experience in education as a county auditor. Some of my additional responsibilities and accomplishments over the past 4 years, besides managing the department, include creating and managing the auditor's $4.4 million budget. We've bonded twice over the past 4 years for road and bridge projects and public works buildings, with interest rates as low as 1.63% and 1.85%. We've kept our AA+ bond rating, which helps lower the cost of borrowing money. I'm the chair of the board for the Minnesota Association of Governments Investing for Counties. This consists of 69 counties with just under $1.8 billion worth of assets under management. Of this amount, $215 million is from St. Louis County. Our money is invested in safe and secure opportunities. I managed a major election in the middle of the pandemic. For the 2020 general election, we saw the highest voter turnout in St. Louis County in 20 years. Even though we dealt with issues related to the pandemic, the results were accurate, which ensured the integrity of the election process. I managed multiple major election recounts. I managed the redistricting process that takes place once every 10 years. I managed the Department of State's passport reviews. I kept the Service Department Center open during the pandemic, even though most of the other DMVs had closed their doors or were operating under appointment only. I knew how important it was to have the services we provide available to our citizens. I understood the toll the pandemic was taking on our citizens and businesses. I worked with the county board to allow the citizens and businesses that were directly affected by the coronavirus to be able to submit their property tax payments up to 2 months late with no penalty or interest. I attend our county board meetings all over the county to provide financial guidance to the county board and to be available to citizens throughout the county. I'm a member of the Liquor Licensing Committee, the Extension Committee, the Camp Esquagama Committee, the Health Insurance Committee, and I'm the Secretary of the Minnesota Counties Information System Board, which manages the tax system that 12 counties across Minnesota, including ours, use. We have installed many new computer systems, including the implementation of a system this month that allows taxpayers to pay their taxes electronically by check with no fee via the St. Louis County website. The first 9 days of this being active saw 1,148 taxpayers pay $2,436,000 through this new system. I manage the auditor's office in a professional manner with the expectation that excellent customer service is of the utmost priority. I also strive for the highest degree of accuracy. The people of St. Louis County need to know that they can trust the information we provide. We are here to serve you, our customers. As we move forward with leadership in the auditor's office, if elected, I will continue the positive changes made by me and my staff. My vision as county auditor includes continuing our practice of providing excellent customer service, maintaining high financial integrity, maintaining our AA+ bond rating, ensuring that our investments are in stable, secure opportunities, administering accurate, fair, and impartial elections, providing a service center that maintains a smooth, efficient process for customers to obtain vehicle registrations, driver's license services, DNR transactions, and passports, auditing for fraud and compliance with statutory requirements, providing accurate tax statements, providing guidance to the county board on finance-related activities, and investing in new technology to streamline processes and reduce expenses. I am an honest person of high integrity that will bring strong character to the office of the St. Louis County Auditor. I will bring a wealth of experience and education to the position. Experience matters. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gordon Ramsay and I'm running for St. Louis County Sheriff. I have served as a police officer since 1993. In Duluth, I worked primarily in the Central Hillside and downtown. I worked my way up the ranks after developing strong relationships in our community. Early on, my belief in how we police was formulated by working in the hillside. I developed lifelong friends. I was more productive as a police officer because people trusted me and gave me information. I felt safer because I knew people had my back. And most importantly, I made lifelong friends, where to this day I still get invited to different events. In 1997, I married my wife, Tracy. We have 2 children, ages 12 and 15, and we live in Duluth. I have my bachelor's degree in criminology and sociology and my master's degree in management, and I am a graduate of the FBI Academy. So I'm nearing almost 30 years in policing. I worked my way up the ranks in Duluth and was appointed chief in 2006. During that time, we really doubled down on community policing and working closer with our community. We did great things and were recognized nationally by the National Police Chiefs Association for our community policing efforts. We lowered crime. Our robberies, burglaries, auto thefts were at record lows, not seen in decades. I should add shootings too. That was great work done by our staff. We used data and we targeted habitual offenders. We worked closely with probation and parole and our partners in the criminal justice system to ensure that we were doing the best for our community. We also worked closely with our community partners, the NAACP and other community groups to address issues and concerns that they had about disparities. Things were good. I'm proud of my accomplishments in Duluth, and it was great to see things going well in my hometown. However, I'd never left Duluth. In 2016, an opportunity came along to go to another department in Wichita, Kansas, a city of about 400,000 and a budget of 110 million. My family and I left and lived in Wichita through last year. We did great things. Again, we worked closely with the community to build relationships. Our efforts were recognized by the White House by 2 different presidents. I was appointed to the Presidential Commission on Law Enforcement, and the governor put me on a commission that studied race and equity, that made recommendations on how to make things better. Race relations has always been at the heart of who I am as a police officer because I want people to trust the police, and I'm passionate about the role that they play. It's been a tough few years to be a police officer, and our numbers for recruiting and applicants are down significantly. In Wichita, we were able to more than double the number of applicants we had from 2016 to 2020. We increased the number of women from 11% to 17%, and the national average is about 11%. We had diverse classes, some of the most diverse classes ever, and that department will forever look different. When I left there, people told me that they felt less safe knowing that I was leaving. But ultimately, home is where the heart is. My family and I wanted to be back in our home so we could care for our families and be closer to our families. And I wanted our kids to grow up the way I did, enjoying the outdoors and North Woods. So in this race, what is important to me is reducing crime and making sure our communities are safe. Our fentanyl issues are growing. We're some of the highest overdose rates in the country. It's estimated we'll have close to 70 overdoses in St. Louis County this year, making it the #1 cause of unnatural death. When you think about it, we have maybe 20 or so fatalities and crashes. Suicides are around that same number. Homicides are less than 10. That's a significant number when you think about it. The amount of overdoses we're having is significant, and it is a concern to me, not only as a parent, a resident here, but also as a law officer. And I'll work with our partners throughout the county to ensure we're doing everything we can to turn these numbers around. In a short time, this race will be over, and I'm asking for your support on November 8th. Thank you.